Hi everyone. Hi Nandita ma'am.
Hi, Pavan. Good morning.
Good morning ma'am. How are you?
Morning. Fine. Thank you. Had I known, I would have actually carried my camera. It's at work.
No problem.
But off work. That's fine. I think this is okay.
Yeah, this is absolutely
Yeah.
right. We'll just wait for Maya ma'am. Just a minute. Yeah.
Yes. Perfect. Fine. We'll wait for Miss Maya.
Right. Ma'am is joining in a minute. I think there is some technical glitch.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes. Hi, ma'am. Are you there?
Hi. So sorry for the delay. No, I was trying, it wasn't come.
No problem. No problem. Okay. I think we can, start our discussion. So today is our
Yes.
third webisode by Bright Talks. As you are all aware that Metamorphosis
Yeah.
is now under Bright Champs, and I've been trying to bring in high quality educators under one roof, and talking about various educational initiatives that are happening, and also especially talking about this 21st century skills and how we can actually scale and
Absolutely.
create an absolute impact in the schools. So the first two episodes, we have talked about uh, you know uh, how can we introduce this 21st century skills to the students, and how do we scale it up, how do we motivate the teachers to take it up, and all of those. But today, the topic is more about from the parents perspective. Right now, with a lot of boards that are there, say we have IB, we have Cambridge, we have central boards, we have state boards, we have ICSE, and things like that. But today, everyone is hearing about this term called NEP, National Education Policy. As educators or people who are in the education system, we all are aware about NEP. But as a parent, as a child, what is it in there for them is something that we should look at, because always we talk about on the policy standards,
Yeah.
but when it comes to the implementation, but we as educators, what we are providing to the students with this NEP is something that we want to talk. And today we have two esteemed speakers with us. We have I've worked with both of them very closely, very personally, on a personal level. We have Ms. Nandita Sunkara ma'am. She is the current principal of Delhi Public School Mahendra Hills in Hyderabad, and also the vice principal of Delhi Public School Nacharam. Of course, I'll talk more about her during our conversations. We have Maya Sukumaran ma'am from
Thank you.
Gitanjali Senior Secondary School at Hyderabad again. So we have both of them from Hyderabad. Last week we have most of the educators from Bangalore. Today it's a home ground for us. Wanted to know, welcome both of you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
accepting
Thank
the
you,
invitation.
Pavan.
Thank you,
Hi,
ma'am.
Miss Maya.
Yeah. Hi, Nandita. And thank you, Pawan, for inviting me.
Right. So we will keep the conversation very candid. There are few principals and parents that are all watching us live. But since I want this entire NEP to be laid out in layout terms, we will start with that, right? We'll start with Nandita ma'am. So Nandita ma'am, when this NEP has been rolled out in say 2020, just wanted to know, uh, what is that policy all about? And what is it that as a school educator, what was your feedback on that?
Thank you, Pavan. NEP actually existed for years together.
Okay.
Bringing it to, in a nutshell, education policy actually existed right for, hundreds of years. But just that NEP 2020 came into a bigger and a wider platform and was accessible. I think we should somewhere or the other thank the technology for taking it further on into the fold of every home and every child, every teacher per se. So it's actually a very, very big step taken by the education department as such in a very rightful direction, because it actually focuses on the holistic development. We wouldn't say that holistic development did not exist all these years. It did in some form or the other, but I think we had not made it very structured. We didn't make it,
Right.
very accessible in the right direction. It did exist in, small little pockets here and there in some form or the other. And with the technological advancement, and the world has come on a, single platform, we are able to exchange a lot of ideas and methodologies. So it's very accessible. So putting it, in a nutshell, I would say that students through NEP 2020, they are ensured that they have a lot of access to
Mm.
knowledge,
Mm.
and there's a lot of relevance. because these are the key points, fundamental, pillars of NEP 2020. There's a lot of relevance of what they are studying and what they are, imbibing as a knowledge, and how they would bring it to practice. And there's a lot of equity, a lot of quality that exists.
Okay.
And quality, when we say, yes, it's actually laying a very strong foundational, learning, process.
Right.
And yes, NEP 2020 definitely talks about quality, affordability, and accessibility. Yes, it has laid a wonderful framework for a radical transformation in the field of education. I think, in a nutshell, I would say that is what is NEP 2020 all about.
Okay, okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. So you're talking more about, say, what kind of knowledge and, how do we make education more accessible is one of the key pointers there.
Yes.
So to add on to it, Maya ma'am, in your terms, yes.
Yeah, for me, I would say, as Ms. Nandita has already said, that it has been always existing. But
Right.
now the focus is there is a change in the entire system of the education policy. They have brought in the changes to bring a connect with this Gen Z. So that is, we are trying to integrate three skills into academics. That is the learning skills,
Right.
the literacy skills, and the life skills. All of them put together in, we are bringing it, along with the academics, the child has to develop these skills.
Right.
So it's a beautiful transition, actually. We are
Right.
focusing on the 4 C's, that is communication, creativity, and the four C's, that we speak about.
Right.
And then the literacy, that is media. One has to know about the media technology. So and all the information that is available in these. So these have to be integrated along with the academics, and we cannot leave out the life skills.
Right.
Which is the most important. See, everybody focuses on you'll have most of the schools, they are focusing on so much of technology, and the emphasis is given on the other things,
Right.
wherein we are leaving out the most important factor in a child, which is supposed to be developed right from 6 months of age. I believe in that very strongly. Early education is something which is extremely important, because within that 6 months, I would say not even 6 months, I would say 4 months, because your visual things are all very imbibed in the child. So from then on, if we introduce education, even 5 minutes per day,
Right.
and we develop this empathy in a child along with all the other skills, I think that is a wholesome education that we can give a child.
Okay, so very interesting. You talked about 3 L's, which is learning, literacy, and life skills, and also 4 C's: communication, creativity, collaboration, cognitive skills, and critical thinking, and all of those, ma'am. So yeah, so this is there in the document, right? I mean, we are focusing on these skills, and they're ensuring that these skills should be the child should secure these skills. So Nandita ma'am, see, you have practiced this NAP already with with you have about odd to about 12,000 kids that are there in your schools. And what is the biggest measuring outcome or measurable outcome out of these skills, right? Like say my ma'am was talking about life skills, and how did you implement these life skills within the students or vocational skills that they have asked? And how did it work? Is there any transformation change that you have seen? And what is your feedback on that?
Yes, definitely. We have something called, value education and, life skills. That's a new form of terminology that is being given. And I still remember when I was in schooling, there was something called moral science class that I had.
Right.
And further to that, I think when I took up teaching, it got transformed into value education. And today we would call it as life skills. And yes, introducing life skills in the right spirit, because uh, basically these are the values, these are the skills, like Maya ma'am said, 21st century skills in a nutshell, put in a holistic figure, because we are working towards a child who's going to fit into this big world, carrying those skills that are basically needed, be it the mathematical skills, be it the language skills, be it the reasoning, communicative, critical thinking, thinking out of the box. These are the skills that are required. And yes, through values that are to be instilled through the life skills as per CBSE. If you look at the CBSE curriculum, that makes it very, very clear. Let the children learn to be very empathetic. Let the children learn to understand the constitutional rights that exist in the nation. Let them also understand that what are the basic first aid skills that are required. Are they really environmentally sensitive? Are they caring for the environment? Do they really care for the planet that they live in? Because there's no other alternative home that they have. And are they really caring towards the elders? Are they really respectful? These are the few skills that I'm talking it from value point of view. When we talk about skills, what you had spoken about vocational skills, back at DPS Nacharam, we do have we did introduce vocational skills classes, like yes, with technology in mind. Artificial intelligence has been introduced, and with the ECC, because early childhood care, students wanting to take up, be it child psychology or get into teaching skills. And yes, yoga as a health aspect, we've introduced that. And we've also introduced mass media and communication. We've introduced FMM, to name a few. These are the basic subjects that are available through CBSE to be introduced as vocational skills. But we would not confine it just to these alone, but we have something called clubs, where we give a choice to the children to participate in various activities and develop those skills, performing and visual arts, be it sports activities. These are the skills that are required for the children to hone themselves, to be ready for their future. Yes, that would be called as a holistic development. Yes, I'm really very happy that these vocational skills subjects have become the in thing now, because all these years, I think Indian education system always looked up to foreign abroad curriculum, where we were surprised at how they could actually simultaneously graduate into in with other subjects as well. But I think no hardcore separations and all is a wonderful introduction that is being brought in, where children and parents are made to realize there's no hard separation between arts and sciences, or commerce and sciences. I think gradually that is narrowing, that mindset has to be changed. So I think, yes, that's how we are being successful today. And yes, this was the first batch at Nacharam that gave board exams in vocational skills, and we are proud to say that we did have a couple of centums in that.
Awesome.
Yes,
awesome. Congratulations on that, ma'am.
Thank you.
And ma'am, so to add on to this, right? I mean, if you're talking about this 21st century skills or vocational skills, financial literacy, entrepreneurship, design thinking, all of those things are there. But I mean, if at all we are not focusing on these skills, right? Or if at all we are not introducing these skills and all, would it even bother the parents? My question is, are parents looking for these kind of skills, right? I mean, is it something that students can actually gain outside the school, where we just focus on the academics? What is the need of these skills inside the schools, right? I mean, inside the school hours, because already looking at the boards or things like that, we have very minimal time frame. So how are you giving that weightage to this?
Yeah, I would like to tell, yes, we definitely look into, building these skills in children. Financial literacy program is a program that we have brought in the curriculum as a structured program, within the timetable for classes 6 to 10. 11 and 12 already has in some form or the other. They have economics or they have commercial
Right.
applications and so many things. So
Right.
that is already happening. But for classes 6 to 10, we have made it as a compulsory. We have made a syllabus for them. And for that, to introduce that for the students, I think it's very important to introduce it for teachers as well as parents.
Interesting.
So we had sessions for teachers for them to understand what is this program that we are introducing for the children, because I think every teacher should know what is it. And personally, when we had the first session, you'll not believe there were teachers who were unaware of, especially lady teachers who didn't know how to do the savings because they were totally dependent on their husbands or sons or brothers and things like that, which I thought was not right. I think
Right.
every woman, whether educated or uneducated, they should know what is a financial literacy program, and that is something very important. Now,
Yeah.
that gave me an awareness that I should bring that down to also the class 4 employees. So we're planning to have this year sessions for the class 4 employees. Then we're going to keep it open for parents, because I think if the teachers are in the state, then I think the parents also should be educated on this. And the moment we had just sent in a word, there was so much of response because everybody wants to know.
Right.
So that is something which I thought is an important aspect that every person should be aware of. Then to develop the leadership quality in every child is
Yeah.
again another very important life skill.
Correct.
Making them flexible. Flexibility is very important,
Mm.
because that rigid mindset will not keep you open for learning. And learning should never stop, because the moment learning stops, your growth stops. I put that learning as an important aspect in you. So unless you develop flexibility in a child, you cannot have. Let the child be given an opportunity to take initiative
Right.
in things. Now, that is again an important aspect, because if we speak about Atmanirbhar Bharat, I think a student should be having the mindset of taking a leap,
Right.
taking risks. So that is an aspect that I think right from childhood that we need to develop in a child. And in whatever they are taking up, there has to be some kind of a productivity.
Right.
That is again very important, because they should not do it casually, that okay, for doing sake they're doing. They have to understand, and what they do, there has to be some kind of productivity. Then obviously the social skills, social outreach programs, which is very important, as I said, to develop empathy in every child. So every child is put into some kind of a social, uh, programs, outreach programs, so that in whatever area they want, we leave it open. It could be adopting animals. You go ahead, and I believe in adoption more than buying fancy animals like dogs. So believe in adoption, so that you are being empathetic and trying to give a good home for dogs that are there on the street or any animals. Then, they should be exposed to all the, difficulties that any special child has. Like, they should feel that experience, that difficulties that a blind child has or a mentally challenged child has, unless they are. That is why in 2 of our schools, we have inclusive programs.
Wow.
It is very important to have inclusive programs, because, they are given an opportunity to go and handhold a child to
Right.
do activities. So this aspects, I think, in all, and I'm sure every parent, which they can't do at home, is being done in the school, every parent will be open and happy about it.
Right.
Because there's no time. Parents don't have the time. By the time the child comes home, the parent is focused on whether the child is going for some tuitions or some classes, and then having food, doing their normal, regular activities, where there is time. So this, I think every school should definitely, ensure that a wholesome education not only means giving the best of coaching, but it is bringing in all these aspects, these developments in a child, because this is the only time that you can mold a child.
Very much. Very much.
Molding happens right from the beginning. So once we give exposure to molding a child, I think by the time they're 18 years, you can very, very confidently leave them
Right.
to join any university, because you have already taught them all the required skills, so they know how to fend for themselves.
Absolutely. And so, Nanitha ma'am, when you have implemented this, just wanted to know for these kind of skills, right? Yes, we are introducing and all of those. Is there any best practice on the measuring outcomes, right? Say, if at all a child is going through financial literacy, right? I mean, what could be the best way to measure this?
See, definitely financial literacy, is being introduced to the mathematical skills right from their, pre-primary stage.
Right.
Gone are those days when, parents should, keep the children away or something from discussing the financial implications back at home. Like
Right.
Maya ma'am said, it's very important for the children to involve themselves in, the community at large.
Right.
And taking this up as an outreach program, children have taken it further on in the, in an activity, something like each one teach one.
Right.
We normally, look at each one teach one from the academic point of view alone. But what we've done is, these set of students have gone little ahead by educating the class 4 employees in handling the banking systems, and in saving aspects, and a lot of insurances that are required. I think that made a lot of difference specifically for grade 9, 10, 11, 12 in taking this further on. And
Okay.
adding on to it, I would like to say that there are a lot of programs where we send our children for apprenticeship. So yes, experiential learning has been there, in the system of education, but NEP 2020 made it further broader, because it does carry a lot of internal, research by the students, and having the first-hand information and experience of industry at large, what is, awaiting them, and becoming empathetic towards the community service and, community needs, the responsibility, sense of saving, because it's not just the earning part of it, because end of the day education is not just earning, it's not a business, it's
Yeah.
a way of life. So trying to educate their peer group is a big step taken up by these students who have taken up this as a subject, to make them understand that certain amount of your, earning should be towards the CSR activities. We know that how big corporates are into CSR activities, so why not introduce right from day one? Yes, so, programs like community service, joy of giving, not keeping it just for, that day alone, but yes, once a week, extend your services beyond. Yes, become environmentally very sensitive, save water projects. We have, planting trees. We have, Harita Haram projects. All time food is another very unique initiative that we've taken up, where
Right.
food is made available for people who are in need. And I'm very glad that, projects by Telangana government taken up, like, we hub, a very, very exclusive program for the girl child to be educated in, again, different vocational skills, right from fashion studies to robotics and AI, and of course they also have financial literacy and marketing. Entrepreneurship, another one. I think we should really look at this. Surprisingly, children have come up with such amazing ideas and solution to certain concerns. And I think NEP hats off to the kind of wider platform that is being given with regard to this as one of the aspect. Yeah.
Awesome, ma'am. Awesome. When you spoke about, say, entrepreneurship, right? I mean, say, I think, Maya, I mean, every year you've been mastering entrepreneurship activities in your schools. So, just again, we will take the measuring outcomes for this as well, right? I mean, if at all there is NEP coming in, so the policy says that, we should be able to measure this, or we should be able to grade this. How does this grading systems work for this?
Somehow I feel grading should be done, assessment should be done as a real life situation. I don't think there should be marks or anything associated with it, but yes, how you are implementing it. Okay, how well you have done research studies and having reflection. I think that is what is more important. Whether you have understood the concept can be measured only by real life situation.
Okay.
They should know, they have to do some research work. Could be done at home. I mean, they don't have to go around and find problems. They have to look at their own financial status of the family. What are the earnings of both the parents? What is the expenditure? And they give I think every child has a right to know that. And parents nowadays are still better. I think before, the parents would not share any of their financial situations with the child. But I think it's very, very important for a child to know what is the status of the family, so that they know exactly how much they can spend. They should be aware, and they are the ones who should take decisions in how the expenditure can happen. So that we are training them with life skills. So they do a research on all that and observe with their changes, that their inputs that they're going to give their parents. What is the change that has happened? It could have happened positively, or it could have happened negatively, whatever. But that negatively also is a learning. So I feel giving them targets of 3 months, you do a research. Now, supposing they have their own family business, or they have their own startups, because nowadays children have startups. Now, how are you managing the finances?
Right.
What is the exact, how the investment is happening, how they are handling the finances is a real-time job that they're doing. And all the learnings from what they have done. If they have done a primary research using the internet, if they have taken some case studies and looked at a company and they have done a research, what is the reflection? That also becomes a learning. So whatever is their reflections that they write and they submit, I think that should be measurable as to how much financial literacy has been imbibed by the child. So at any age, I don't think there is an age bar for it. But maybe situations could be tougher or easier, whatever, but that is the beginning. Because studying for marks is something which they will remember for that examination. After that, it is forgotten. So it has to be experience.
Right. Very much, ma'am. And so, Nandita ma'am, after, I mean, again, with your experience during your stint of introducing all of this, how is the parent involvement in this, right? Because the learning cannot stop at the school. Definitely, it should carry forward to the home. So, any suggestions that you gave to the parents, or is it happening on its own, or they are gaining this kind of exposure? What is your observation?
See, shifting the mindset from rote learning was definitely a big challenge in the field of education, especially for the teachers. Our education system in India is completely in such a way that, we look at what next? Where is
Right.
the placement of my child? And I
Right.
think a dream profession, that in the past that we had, engineering and, legal and medical were very, very few professions that ever existed. But
Right.
I think in today's world, with more and more parents, moving out from first generations to the next generation of education field, I think broader perspective is being, seen.
Right.
Schools have not left any stone unturned when it comes to a lot of orientations that are happening, educating the parents about a choice of subjects. Yes,
Right.
first and foremost, I think right from day one, when the child has entered the school, very importantly, integrating art,
Right.
integrating sports, integrating a lot of, story based approaches, and definitely competency based learning gives a wider expanse. And when the formative assessments, have been implemented, and that's how we don't look at annual examinations alone, because
Right.
that's cannot be the, final criterion for assessing the child's learning process. And yes, when it came to formative learning, and definitely trying to assess, how much is the child able to integrate all these various skills in a nutshell, is being assessed. And that's when parent also has started understanding. But yes, making the parent understand that it's not the, report card alone, but it's the further on the skills that are very, very important and imperative in a child's, growth. 21st century skills, definitely how the child collaborates. A group activity is being given a lot of importance. When it comes to critical thinking skills, a lot of importance. And definitely a lot of communicative skills. What is the creativity of the child? Participating in a lot of, um, areas and activities is mandatory for a child's growth. And further to that, when it comes to choice of, languages, choice of streams, whether humanities, sciences and commerce, and bringing a scope of these subjects in future is very, very important. And we are very glad that lately parents sit together with their child to, start understanding what is the strength of the child, and how do we go about. And that's where I think a lot of importance to the career counselor comes in, who puts things on, cards in front of the parent. And of course there are a lot of tools to assess them.
Yeah.
But I think leaving the choice to the child with a little bit of, approach and an
Right.
understanding, because leaving it to the child also is not in the healthy spirit, because they get often at times, influenced by the peer group and all, they can just go tangent in their selection. But yes, the bringing it on, cards to the parents through orientations and a lot of, skill based projections by the children, and wider scope of subjects and future prospects of every subject based on the potential of the child. That's
Got it.
very important. Trying to compare another classmate and another child is not going to
Yeah.
lead them anywhere in today's world. And yes, tapping the potential of every child, and providing them with a lot of leadership qualities, and uh, uh, empathy,
Yeah.
integrity. And I think these are the skills, and understanding the diversity in our country, because you cannot be confining yourself to what you are seeing in the closest environment.
Right.
Think big. I think,
Yeah.
because I think people are moving, from one place to another. So
Right.
diversity is something that is very important. Yes.
Right. So I've been receiving a couple of questions from the viewers and also from our team. One thing is, not having grades is a boon or a bane, right? I mean, especially, I mean, for the teachers also to kind of, understand where they are heading. So, ma'am, so if at all you can throw a light on that.
See, not having grades totally is again I would say is not healthy for a child, because a child will not take anything very seriously.
Right.
So there has to be some kind of continuous assessment tool which will help us, tell the parents where your child stand. So I don't think it should be just 2 exams in a year or 3 exams in a year, but it should be a continuous credit system like how you have it global education.
Right.
So that would be a better way to assess the child, and making it case study based and research based. I think these learnings would be there in the child, imbibed in the child, rather than they writing an exam and clearing the paper, getting 90%, 100%, and later another 1 month later the child is not knowing, remembering also what the child has learned. So that should
Right.
not happen. It has to be some kind of a continuous assessment with uh, research based and case study based, wherein they are applying everything that they have learned.
Right.
That application is what is more important than anything else.
Right. So Nandita ma'am, I mean, another question that I've got is, how do we empower the teachers to deliver these kind of skills? So what are you doing in terms of
A
empowering?
lot of continuous professional development courses, and definitely CBSE has come up with COE trainings, and we do have, thanks to post pandemic, that we've started again back with the physical mode of training, and which is compulsory 50 hours of training as per the government's stipulations is one. And of course there are a lot of in-house training that we have. Again, we our teachers who undergo training, be it publisher led or COE or otherwise, they come back and conduct a lot of eco workshops, a lot of faculty meetings and departmental meetings and inter-school, a lot of combinations. And I think Sahodaya conducts a lot of
Yeah.
trainings for the principals and teachers. I think that has taken a big leap. And we have professional educationists, we invite them, we have guest lectures, and we have principals and directors from various fields. And recently what you had conducted for HTC, I think that was another big initiative for the teachers to undergo. I think that's taking a good response from various organizations, and different companies are organizing soft skills
Yeah.
training for the teachers, be it subject related or general per se, because I think psychology is another very, very important subject for the teachers to
Yeah.
understand. Communicative skills is so important, gender sensitivity is so important. With, I think,
Right.
career counseling and guidance is so important. So one cannot say I'm a good teacher and that's it and I relax. No, every day is a learning, and I think every minute is a learning,
Right.
because education definitely builds the nation.
Right.
Education builds the nation, and if the nation has to progress, and I think teacher has to grow, and only then the child will learn every day. it's
Yeah.
it's a give and take for the
Right.
child. Every day's experience. I've been teaching for 25 years, and I know
Right.
even if it's the same chapter, the response of the children is different, and I learn a lot, and I did to improvise. So I think that is what is learning as well.
Interesting. So on this note, I think we covered on, just to sum up, we covered on NEP focuses on, how can we make education accessible for all the children, focusing on the real life skills, like say 3 L's mentioned by Maya ma'am, learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. And of course, on the 4 C's that, every child should be developing. We spoke on the inclusiveness that should be given to the students also, and we spoke on several measuring aspects. How do we involve the parents, how do we involve the teachers to ensure that the measuring is there. We spoke about apprenticeships, which is the best way to kind of develop these kind of skills. We spoke about early education. I think early education is something that plays a very crucial role in developing child's these kind of skills. and already the things have been at an implementation levels. Now I think the question or the challenge would be, how do we scale this up, and how can every school ensure that whether NEP is aligned or not, but the skills for the practicality of these skills are developed in every child. I think schools like yours are already at a very advanced stage to develop these outcomes. Kudos to you all. And I should once again thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you so much, Pawan. I think one small little message before we move out. I think education has actually the power to change the world. And youth today has to be empowered with all those.
Right.
Let's direct the outcome of education in the right spirit, rather than having more number of legal concerns. Let us put into a direction that leads the world for us to live wonderfully in in a error free, in tension free and stress free environment. And I think that's what we need to lead. I think 1 year of staying indoors, we've seen how environment became so beautiful, and we had good results. And I think it has taught us a lot. People had started respecting dignity of labor. That's what they've understood. And I think let every child realize, if they are responsible, the world is a better place to live in.
I would just like to add, Pawan, there has to be a change, I feel, in the pedagogy, the teaching techniques. Let us all use more of pedagogy, heutagogy, geragogy, again, very important to be. So I feel when we use all these goggies and don't bring in a stereotyped of lesson plan that teacher submits, let us see how they use these and submit all their activities that they have done for introduction, for anything, with the help of QR code. I think that's the best way of we have to change every system of transferring this education to the children. Once that is done, and for that I feel the teachers have to be definitely ahead. They have to be open to learning at the same time, unless that the head of the school institution doesn't keep their mind open and open to learning and introduce new techniques every year. Teachers have to look forward for what is it going to come. So I think with that, there would be definitely a difference in our education system.
Very much.
You don't need NEP to tell us, actually. We need to have our own ideas on how we can make our education system different.
Right. And it depends on the DNS of the organizations.
Absolutely.
I think that plays a crucial role. Okay. Thank you so much once again.
Thank you. Thank you so
much. Thank you.
Watching this.
Thank you, Pawan. It was nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So much.
Bye. Bye, Nin.
Thank you.